You're listening to New England Real Estate Journal Radio with Rick Kaplan, New England source for commercial real estate news. This is New England Real Estate Journal Radio on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
Welcome to the New England Real Estate Journal Radio Show. I'm Rick Kaplan with my co-host Eric Wilson, and we're here today at the HELP Conference in the Seaport on the Waterfront Hotel. And today's show is brought to you by the New England Real Estate Journal, bringing together the commercial real estate industry for over 50 years. Find us at NEREJ.com. If you'd like to be a guest or sponsor for the show, call 800-654-4993 or email us at radio@nerej.com. Again, that's 800-654-4993 or email radio@nerej.com. And as you can probably tell, I have a little bit of a cold.
No way. Get out of here.
Yeah, so
that's what that is?
So my throat might be a little scratchy today.
Slightly.
I mean, it's probably because we had so many things going on last week.
We did. We had a bunch of events we went to. We've been talking about them for months now. We went to the IREM State House Tour, which was really cool. We learned a lot about the sacred cod.
Yes, and we also met with Brian Joyce, Senator Brian Joyce.
Yeah, you took a picture with him on the balcony. We had to overlook the Boston Common.
Right.
You know, you being the bigwig here at the NERJ radio show.
He was holding on tight. He was afraid I was going to throw him over. But, we had a lot of fun there.
Yeah, we did. We had to walk in on also a session that was going on or proceeding.
That's right, and they were all yelling at each other.
All yelling at each other about how
fun.
they got 791 bills just sitting around waiting to be voted on and talked about.
Well, they were talking about one bill that it was extended to 793 bills.
Yeah, because they don't have, a majority leader or something?
I don't know.
But that was really cool. That was quite the experience for us. So you know that we don't really dabble that much in the political side. Unless we're, drinking and expressing our opinions. And
then we walked down to Cheers.
We went down to Cheers, which was a lot of fun.
Where everyone knows our name.
Well, they knew your voice, but it was a lot of fun. It was what a blast. The IREM crew is always an exceptional event. You get to meet a lot of people from all over their industry. They do a really good job of reaching everybody that they can, and
they did a great job.
They did.
It was a lot of fun that day.
And then we went to another event on Saturday, which was an outstanding event. What a great event they put together. ServiceMaster by Gilmore for Roseanne Sedoya.
Right, running for Roe, and that was a really great event for them.
It was. I think that Dick Hoyt spoke. He was the keynote speaker. What an outstanding life he's led. Like when you and I were talking. He did more in like 3 years, and I've done in the 30 I've been on the planet.
No, I know. I mean, the guy's incredible.
Incredible.
And he does it, everything he does, he has his son with him.
Right.
And
he's
incredible.
He's literally the size of at least two of your average triathletes. I mean, he is a large, wide-shouldered, incredible shape and incredible fortitude to accomplish all the tasks that he did. So that was a really cool speech. And we also heard from Tony Maserati.
Yeah, Tony Maserati.
We
another radio guy.
Yeah, we got a picture taken with him. The two famous hosts and the color commentary guy like myself.
Right.
But, it was a lot of fun. I really appreciate ServiceMaster by Gilmore inviting the NERJ radio team out to that event. And, I hope it did a fantastic job helping Roseanne.
I think they made a lot of money that night.
Yeah,
I think they did well.
I think they did well. I think Roseanne Sedoya is going to be really happy. And, that was it for us in events last week. But
we're here at the HELP Conference
today.
And, I want to thank Jim O'Connell for putting on the event.
Yeah.
He does a great job every year, and he always invites us back. So
he does. We
must be doing something right.
It's always you, Rick. It's always you.
And Jim's
a
great guy.
It was your golf game last summer that invited you back.
That was it.
But we're going to take a bunch of interviews from some of the attendees here at the conference, so I'm excited to learn more about this again.
Yeah, and if people aren't familiar with the HELP Conference, it's basically the the hospitality industry.
Yeah, it's hospitality,
and the finance,
equity,
and building.
lending perspective, right? And,
exactly.
Yeah.
So
and they bring them all over the country. This is all.
We just met a gentleman from San Francisco.
Right.
They're from.
Who'll be joining us in a little bit.
Another gentleman from New York. So they're from all over.
All right, let's get into this.
Well, the show is brought to you by the New England Real Estate Journal, bringing together the commercial real estate industry for over 50 years. Find us at NEREJ.com. If you'd like to be a guest or sponsor for the show, call 800-654-4993 or email us at radio@nerej.com. Again, that's 800-654-4993. 4993 or email radio@nerej.com. And we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network.
The next level in commercial real estate. This is New England Real Estate Radio on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
And we're back on New England Real Estate Journal Radio. I'm Rick Kaplan with my co-host Eric Wilson, and we have a few interviews that we're going to have today coming from the Health Conference. But today's interviews are brought to you by Command Security Corporation, is the nation's most trusted and experienced provider of affordable contract security services. Command Security Corporation offices nationwide and operations at numerous major international airports. They provide complete, customized, and cost-effective security solutions for industries, businesses, institutions, and organizations of all sizes. To find out how Command Security Corporation can solve your security needs, contact John Dunleavy at 800-791-9102 or go to commandsecurity.com. That's John Dunleavy at 800-791-9102 or go to commandsecurity.com. And we have with us today from the Help Conference is Karen Whitman. She's a Senior Director of Development of the Northeast region for the Hilton Worldwide?
That's correct.
And so what does that title mean?
So as director for the New England region, and I am responsible for helping to grow Hilton's franchise brands throughout New England and New York. I cover all of New York with the exception of the 5 boroughs, and I help to grow all the Hilton brands: Hilton Full Service, DoubleTree, Embassy Suites, Hilton Garden Inn, Hampton Inn, our newest brand, Home 2 Suites. You're laughing because there's so many.
Many.
Well, my question, if you don't mind me asking, are these franchise owned, like independent owned, but under the Hilton franchise?
Correct. They're all franchised through Hilton, and they follow all of our.
Okay, so you do basically the branding for them to follow by for all the different independent owners, so they all understand and follow the Hilton brand this way.
Right. So if
fantastic.
you wanted to build one of our brands, a Hampton Inn, I work with you in identifying a site and a market in order to put the product there.
Right. Oh, nice.
Now, why would someone want to have that the name as opposed to building their own hotel with their own name?
So the success of Hilton is helping to put heads in beds, and we do that through our branding, our reservation system, of course, our tie-ins with the internet, our product, our loyalty program, Hilton Honors, which we have. Many of our guests are Hilton Honor members, and they want to get points and miles, and so they're pretty loyal to us. So, all of the positives that strengthen the brand and make your product achieve a greater performance. So all of our brands from a RevPAR index exceed industry averages, and so people want to be part of our system to get those benefits.
Now, another question, why so many different brands?
Each brand serves a different segment, and we'd like to say all of our brands swim in their own swim lanes. Mm-hmm. Hampton Inn is a focus service brand. It does not have a restaurant. It serves a free breakfast every morning. Garden Inn has a restaurant and a lounge, but it's smaller. It doesn't have a lot of extra amenities like a full-service Embassy Suites or a full-service DoubleTree or a full-service Hilton. So each brand serves a different segment in the industry and competes effectively with other products in that segment.
I have a weird question again. This is kind of what I do. So did Hilton buy the Hampton Inn as it was an independent hotel before and then just became its own brand once it became under Hilton, or did Hilton invent Hampton Inn as part of finding a niche for that lane?
So the Hampton brand originally started as part of the Holiday Corporation, and I actually go back to those days where we were part of Holiday Corporation. Holiday Inn back in the early 80s really had the biggest stake in the industry, and that's when the industry started to segment. So as a full-service developer, they decided they wanted to get into these other growing segments. So we developed the Hampton Inn brand, the Homewood Suites brand, and the Embassy Suites brand. since that time, Holiday sold, or we sold the Holiday Inn brand to Bass PLC back then.
Okay.
And then we've gone through a few different ownership gyrations, but Hilton acquired us, what was Promise Hotels. And so when Hilton acquired Promise, the brands that they acquired were Hampton Inn, Homewood Suites, and Embassy Suites, and DoubleTree.
Okay.
Very interesting. I just...
this is why she's on a panel.
Yeah, well, I just find it amazing that they could have so many brands, and focus on all of those brands.
I think the world has changed, and that there's so many, not just the hospitality industry, but every industry seems to have segmented to different brands, whether you're talking about jeans or whether you're talking about sodas. I mean, everybody has different segments and different products that fit that segment, and that's the same thing that's happened in the hospitality industry.
Well, you have a little bit for everyone.
Absolutely, a product for whatever travel need you might have, because
right.
when you're with your family, you have different needs than when you're traveling on business, and so we have different products that serve all those different needs.
Oh.
Before we touch upon your panel at the end of the day today, I have one other peculiar question, I would guess. Because you guys are franchised and the hotel name is so powerful, Hilton, and did you see, 2008, there's not a lot of new hotel owners coming out with new names. I mean, I haven't heard a new hotel chain, maybe since Motel 8 back in the 80s that I can remember of. So through 2008, the recession we had again in 91, did that almost conglomerate the brands to only be 4 or 5 that own 20 other brand names?
We came out with a new brand in 2009, Home 2 Suites by Hilton. But we haven't come out with any other new brands. But you're seeing a lot of the industry are still coming out with new brands in different segments, whether they're boutique or whether they're luxury or whether they're collection. But our newest brand is Home 2 Suites by Hilton.
Okay, nice.
What's the hottest hotel brand you have right now?
It depends where you're looking. I mean, in Boston, we are under Hilton represented, so we have a lot of people trying to build some of our select serve products, being Garden Inn, Homewood Suites. We don't have either one of those in Boston. The Hampton Inn brand is, we have one just on the outskirts of Boston, and we have one in Cambridge, but that's a brand that people are trying to develop here. Select serve brands are easier to develop. There are less barriers than doing a full service. Capital requirements are less. So, we have more people trying to do select serve in Boston today.
Wow. We really appreciate you taking the time, but could you tell us a little bit about what your panel you're going to be talking about later this afternoon so our
Sure. The conference wraps up with something called Circle the Wagons, and they have round tables set up with different hotel brands and different lenders set up. And I would move from table to table, and it's kind of like a speed dating type thing.
Nice.
So they would have 10 or 12 people at a table, and then they'd have a Hilton representative come, and I would be available to answer any questions that the group might have about Hilton. There'll be somebody from Marriott there. There'll be somebody. So they call it Circle the Wagons, and it's a nice way to end the conference where you have an opportunity to do a very quick one-on-one with a different representative from each company. And then after that panel completes, we totally end the conference with a cocktail party. So it's incentive to stay for that last session.
It is. It totally is. Well, we really appreciate it, Karen. Thank you.
We appreciate it, Karen. That was Karen Whitman, Senior Director of Development in the Northeast Region for the Hilton Worldwide Hotel Corporation, right?
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you,
all right,
Karen.
thank you. Enjoy the conference.
In our second interview from the HELP conference, we have Andrea Foster, the Vice President of PKF Consulting USA. Not just in USA, not out throughout the whole world.
Is PKF a international company?
So PKF is. We're part of PKF International. That's our sister company, and those are the auditors and appraisers.
And so what is PKF Consulting?
So we are a hospitality consulting firm, the oldest one in the United States. We do appraisals, market feasibility studies. We publish a lot of data on the hospitality industry, including our Trends in the Hotel Industry report. This year will be our 78th annual publication of that report, as well as others.
Wow. So some of the things that you report on, you were saying appraisal,
Yes, market feasibility studies and so forth. So we will do valuations of hotels when one is looking to acquire or invest in a hotel. We do market feasibility studies when a developer is looking to build a hotel. We'll let them know what they can expect their return to be. Occupancy, average daily rate, revenues, net operating income, and then ultimately a value when we're doing appraisal and valuation. And our publications are Trends, for example, is an aggregate of P&L statements from various hotels. We get about 6,500 each year from various types of hotels across the United States, and we aggregate that information in a variety of ways to show what the profitability of a hotel is and be able to see how things are changing year to year.
So you have that information that other hotels will send you?
Absolutely.
On a regular basis?
Absolutely.
And you compile all that information, and now you can appraise what a property should be doing.
Absolutely. So we use the data that we gather to use as financial comparables, to use as performance comparables, and benchmark a particular hotel, our subject hotel, against it, and see what it should be doing in that particular market for that type of property, what its profitability should be, what its occupancy average daily rate should be. So it's a lot of data that we get to see on our end. Yeah. And of course, we never share anything proprietary. It's always an aggregate when we publish.
Right. So I was just going to ask you. So is all the data that you collect in all these reports, is it all in-house?
We collect it all in-house.
Right.
We're the only hospitality firm with a proprietary database that we have.
So who can get these reports? Can anybody that wants to be a client?
Anybody can buy the reports,
okay.
Absolutely. So if a hotel participates in Trends, they automatically get a complimentary copy of the report
okay.
when we publish it. So there are a number of people who are getting it automatically. It's available for purchase. Trends is one example that's an annual report, but we also publish Hotel Horizons, which is an econometric forecast that we do for 50 U.S. markets every quarter. So we are constantly updating that. So that is a 5-year forecast. So we're looking at rate and average daily rate and occupancy, and thus RevPAR for a 5-year period. For the current year we're in, we also forecast by quarter. So we put that together every quarter, and we do it for 50 U.S. markets. And that's that's published out of our PKF Hospitality Research Group, which is based in Atlanta. That is a sister company that's very tight with PKF Consulting.
Right. And what is it you do personally at PKF as the vice president?
Absolutely. So I oversee our New England hospitality practice. So anything that happens with any clients in New England, if they're looking for a feasibility study, they're looking for an appraisal, operational analysis, anything of the sort, I work with them in New England to take care of that and appraise the hotel.
Right. So if they're looking to buy or invest in, what about sell?
We can refer to brokers.
Okay.
But yes. So
I mean, if I wanted a report on making sure that when I talk to my broker, he's getting the same report that you guys have, is there a way to do that?
Absolutely. We do various types of due diligence, and so there's really no set. This is the specific scope.
Right.
I have a number of things going on right now where people said, we're interested in getting your perspective on this particular question.
Right.
And as a consultant, everybody comes to us with, as we would say, a problem, or a question, and because of our expertise and our access to information and ability to analyze and conclude, we'll go through and do the research, do the analysis, and provide the conclusion that's appropriate.
Right.
So would you also,
it's like Burger King, you get it your way.
Yeah,
that's right. So would you also be a consultant for a hotel? Let's say someone owns about 5 or 6 hotels, and one is not doing so well. They would contact you and say, is this what this hotel should be doing? Or what it should be?
Absolutely. So we would go through and in that case, kind of an operational analysis, repositioning question, and we would go back through and look at all their financials. To some extent, depending on the scope, we would actually go in and interview department managers and so forth. And we can do a very extensive operational analysis on the property, and just find out, what the details are and why they're not performing the way they should. And of course, we're benchmarking against other financials. We're benchmarking against the market, their competitive set. Are they penetrating the market as they should? And if not, why aren't they? And then we would dig down through and then provide our findings and conclusions.
So then you'll be able to determine what the real issue is in that hotel. So now that property owner
Absolutely.
Now he finds his solution.
Exactly. So not only discover what the issue is, but then determine how they actually solve the issue. So what are the immediate, what are the immediate items that they need to put into place? What are some of the, not necessarily long-term, but the next step? And then what's the more strategic approach that they need to do? Whether it is some may be staffing changes and issues, some may be the facilities. They may not be most appropriate for that particular market, and they need to switch up some of their operations. Some of it may be a renovation question where they're trailing behind their competitive set, and because they're not renovated and updated and so forth, it may be a question of brand, whether they have one or not, or maybe it's not the right brand. There could be a number of issues that we may uncover, and we'll make the...
Now, is that a common service that you would offer for non-performers?
Absolutely. So, and again, it's so customized that whatever our clients are looking and needing, we have the data, we have the expertise to be able to approach it in whatever manner that they need and solve the problem.
So it's an all-around consulting.
It absolutely is.
It's not just for selling or buying. You handle almost any phase of how their business is being run.
We really do. And not only, the way that I describe PKF is it's like a wheel with the hub and the spokes. So hotels and hospitality is really the hub of the wheel, and the spokes are various portions, various aspects of hospitality. We are experts in convention centers, conference centers. We do, the restaurant side of things. We've even done studies for museums. We do tourism, and then I'm also our National Director of Spa and Wellness Consulting. So we do hotel spas and related things as well. So as long as it touches the hospitality industry in some way, we've often, either are experts or done a lot of work within it, so there's a lot of opportunity that we touch a lot of things.
So your service is normally as needed, or is that how they hire you, as needed, or do you go on some kind of a
retainer
or contingencies?
It absolutely depends. So a lot of our work is project work. So there's a specific scope of work, and we will do from soup to nuts the entire thing. But other times we are kept on retainer, and we do a regular analysis, kind of an asset management, perspective and approach, and whether it's a monthly or a quarterly or whatever it may be, but we do get involved on a longer term basis. So advisory is one of the things that we are involved in also.
Okay, as the National Director of the Spa and Wellness, what about those new spas with the fish for your feet? Do you have to because I know that's something that's kind of the new thing, the new fad, but it's still so kind of new that they don't really know if it's sanitary and all that stuff. Reports on back or whatever. Do you have to look into those type of things to see if that's something a hotel would want to add, things like that?
Well, not the fish specifically,
right?
But
do they have hotels with the fish?
There are
around
some,
here.
What? Come on, man.
It's not as common here in the United States. It's certainly something that's a little more common.
It's just coming over.
Yes. So what we would end up doing is more the spa feasibility study. So should a spa add a hotel? 62% of luxury hotels have spas. 12% of upper upscale hotels have spas. And so, it's first a question of, is it the right type of hotel that should have one? What is their guest demographic? Why are people coming there, and is it expected that this hotel would have a spa? So these are the types of things that we look into. Right. Are the competitive properties in their market, do they have spas? So, it's always a question of, positioning. Is it appropriate? And then we look at the feasibility of it to say what, would the potential revenues be if you had a spa, and what should the size of it be if in fact there is enough demand. When we look at spas, they not only generate a department profit amongst them, in themselves, or the majority should if they're appropriately positioned, sized, right. And in hotels that should have them, then they should be turning a nice departmental profit. But at the same time, they can increase occupancy, and they can generate longer stays, right. Higher double occupancy factor, and things of that sort. So we look into all of that, but we look at it from an investment and a real estate standpoint. That's really the key and the core.
Right. Wow. Blown away. There's way too much information.
It's a lot of information. It sounds like a great profession, though.
It does. More people need to be getting into this. I've never even heard of it.
Right. Well, we appreciate you coming over to the mic,
thank you so much,
Andrea.
Well, thank you.
We're talking with Andrea Foster, the Vice President of PKF Consulting, USA.
Yep.
Actually, you're right here in Boston.
I am, yes, just around the corner.
And you're off. You consult anywhere in the country.
Yes, absolutely. PKF is a nationwide firm. We have offices all around the country, though I focus mostly on New England, but we have offices throughout and great practice leaders in our firm.
Nice.
Great.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, and enjoy the Help Conference.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
And we just had those 2 interviews, one with Karen Whitman, Senior Director of Development of the Northeast region for the Hilton Worldwide, and Andrea Foster, the Vice President of PKF Consulting, which was very interesting because she does a lot of consulting for a lot of hotels and makes sure they're running properly. And that part of the interview was brought to you by Command Security Corporation, is the nation's most trusted and experienced provider of affordable contract security services. Command Security Corporation offices nationwide in operations at numerous major international airports. They provide complete, customized, and cost-effective security solutions for industries, businesses, institutions, and organizations of all sizes. To find out how Command Security Corporation can solve your security needs, contact John Dunleavy at 800-791-9102 or go to commandsecurity.com. That's John Dunleavy at 800-791-9102 or go to commandsecurity.com, and we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network.
Rick Kaplan and Eric Wilson, right here on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
And we're back on New England Real Estate Journal Radio. I'm Rick Kaplan with my co-host Eric Wilson. And our next segment, a couple of interviews we're going to have from the Help Conference, is brought to you by New England Restaurant Brokers, recognized leader in the sale of food and liquor businesses for over 30 years. New England Restaurant Brokers' team of restaurant specialists have sold hundreds of food and liquor businesses. If you're looking to buy or sell or develop a food or liquor business, call New England Restaurant Brokers at 617-721-9655 or go to nerestaurantbrokers.com. Again, that's New England Restaurant Brokers at 617-721-9655 or email nerb@comcast.net. That's nerb@comcast.net. And we're here at the Help Conference, and we have at the mic with us is Ken Ford. He is the Vice President of New England Hotel Realty. And obviously, Ken, you must sell hotels.
Yeah, I do, and thanks for having me today. New England Hotel Realty is the largest volume hotel specialty brokerage house in the Northeast, and we travel across the country where our clients take us. But the large volume that we do is essentially New England and into the Mid-Atlantic states, and we focus specifically on hotels.
So a lot of hotels being sold lately?
Not as many as there should be, but there's a fair amount of volume compared to the last 4 or 5 years. Seems to get better every day. Financing is back in the game. New hotel development financing is back, and not for everyone, but for many. And we'll see more new hotels as we keep going here.
So who's buying hotels? Is it other hotel owners that are just expanding or want to take over hotels that aren't doing as well as they should be?
Well, generally what we've found is that any owner who gets into the hospitality business and becomes an owner generally is a buyer, 9 out of 10 times. So yes, owners are buyers. You always have first-time buyers that want to get into the business, but generally you're dealing with ownership groups, large and small, big companies, national big companies, regional large companies, smaller, shall I say, entrepreneurial groups that consist of 4 or 5 partners. And then we don't generally focus on this, but there always are small individual owner-operators looking to get in the business for the first time. But we deal with mostly companies.
How long has New England Hotel Realty been around?
Since 1977. Yep.
Oh, nice.
Yep, my father founded the firm back then. I started in 1993.
So you just did your 20th year last year.
Yeah, I did.
Congratulations.
I did. And
if it was a government job, you'd retire. With a pension.
No, but our name's very well known. We've been around for a long, long time, and we have a great client base. And
And where I know you're a New England hotel. Really, where are you based out of?
We're in Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Oh, nice. Hey,
we've been there since the beginning.
Nice. We'll be doing a event up there in June.
Oh, super.
We're running a pretty big event with all the Meet New Hampshire, Meet Northern New England, actually.
Yeah, actually, we're having it at the Sheraton.
I'll be there.
Nice.
Be
there. We'll send you an invite.
We'll send you an invite.
Yeah.
So
I know you came to the Help Conference. How you've been, selling hotels up and down? We understand 2008 must have been pretty difficult with a lot of people shutting down their spending and financing. Did you see a lot of the bigger chains or the bigger hotel owners kind of, I don't want to say gobbling up, but absorbing these smaller guys?
You would think that would have happened. The New England region has generally been under-leveraged. Mm-hmm. We didn't have a lot of foreclosure sales. You could probably count them on your hands and toes. And they weren't very significant assets either. And in that regard, what was unique about New England is at that recessionary time, the people who had extra cash started renovating, looking forward to the better times and having a hotel in good condition. So it was almost the opposite of what you saw in other regions of the country, in the Southeast, in the Midwest, South Central, where you had a lot of foreclosure sales. We just didn't have a lot up here.
Yeah. It must be. It's obviously a very niche industry that you're in because it's primarily hospitality, and you go as low as what? Do you do bed and breakfast? Did you go that low, or is it like motels up to hotels?
Well, I'm actually looking for a new broker. I have to hire a new broker, and that's an area that we're not serving very well right now, kind of on purpose.
Yeah.
We're really focusing on assets that are worth $5 million or more.
Okay.
But I am looking for a new broker, so I can train them and have them handle some of the lower lying fruit.
Okay.
Yeah, so nice. What are you trying to say? You would like to hire Eric? Because I'm trying to get rid of him.
Nice. Look at this. Match made in heaven.
Do you have a real estate license?
I don't.
I'll pay for him to get one.
If he could afford it. No, that sounds like great news. But the reason I was just asking is I know that New England, especially up in the New Hampshire area and Maine, that's a very bed and breakfast, smaller hotels. And I'm sure that New England didn't suffer much just because of tourism itself, and through 2008 through 2011.
Yeah.
People are still coming here for education, healthcare, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's a great tourism spot. Always has been. Will continue to be. And by virtue of being up here in New England, you really do have to service those smaller properties and have that niche. So that new broker is going to come in handy for that.
Nice. And second thing is, what's the typical timeline for a hotel purchase or sale? I would assume that people who get into it are in it to make sure that the assets are producing them, a second stream of revenue. And is it all of a sudden like, hey, I just want to get out of the game, so I'm selling it? Or is it like, it's not producing enough revenue, let me find a different place? What is the typical lifeline for?
Well, that's a great question. And generally speaking, it's really a 6 to 9 month timeline from when you take the listing and get it out in the market to the day it closes. Mm-hmm. It can be shorter than that. You can do it in 3 or 4 months. It has to be, it really is about location. Is it priced properly as well? So it can be very fast, but generally it's somewhere between 6 and 9 months. And as you get into smaller assets that are a little bit more remote in location, it can drag on a little longer than that.
Right. What is the typical seller of a hotel? Who is that person? Is that the person that, I don't want to, obviously the people who go under or bankrupt are going to sell, but what is your typical hotel seller? Because you, like you said, there was only less than 10 foreclosures during the recession period. So who's really your seller? Is it someone who's just looking to get out of the game, or?
When it's an individual, it's generally someone who's tired, has been spending their whole adult career doing what they're doing, and is just ready to move on to the next phase of life. But when it's a company, they're generally selling because they have equity in it and they want to put it into something else, whether that's building a new hotel. But you have a couple different kinds of sellers. You have small companies, getting out at a time when it's probably the best profit that they can take. You have individual owners who are tired, and you have companies that have felt like they've done everything that they can with this asset or a portfolio of assets and said, time for someone else to take this.
Pass that torch on?
Yeah.
All right.
Do you think it's a wise move for an individual to actually get into the hotel business?
Yeah, it can be very profitable. It's also, it's capital intensive. You have to renovate what seems to be almost constantly. If you're an independent property, you kind of control that. But when you're a brand, you have a brand over your head really controlling what you have to do for renovations. But it's the profit margins are quite good, particularly in limited service properties. Much more profitable than the restaurant business, which is very difficult to make money in. But yeah, people who generally build some of the newer brands that you see, like Residence Inns and Courtyards and Hampton Inns and Homewood Suites, for instance. When they build one, they're generally going to build another one because it is that successful. They're very profitable. And again, it's location. I mean, you can build them in the wrong spot.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like anything. Yeah.
That's why your job's been so well, right? Because these people always wanted to build these, and they never build just one.
Yeah. They generally keep going.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, Ken. Are you going to be speaking at any of the panels?
I am not on a panel.
No. Do you want to be on one?
We'll have to work on that next year. We'll get our good bud Jim over here. Well, hey,
I have to go show a property this afternoon, so I have to leave at noon.
You're better off selling.
Go sell that property. That's much better.
Well, thanks for having me.
We appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on. That was Ken Ford, Vice President of New England Hotel Realty. So if you're looking to sell a hotel, you got to give Ken a call.
Yeah, he's looking to hire.
Or if you're looking to sell hotels, Ken's looking for a good salesperson, a good broker.
Not salesperson. Jeez.
A good broker. Isn't a broker a salesperson?
Yeah, it's just a much better name for it. That's why they call them brokers.
That's right. And we appreciate you coming on, Ken.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for having me.
Take care, Ken. Enjoy the conference.
Okay.
And our next interview of this segment is with Douglas Hercher. He's the principal and manager director of Robert Douglas. And Robert Douglas is a firm that does...
We are a real estate investment banking firm that focuses on the hospitality industry. So we're helping owners of hotel properties to raise capital, whether it's debt or equity, for them to pursue their business plan.
So what kind of hotel owner comes to you? I mean, what kind of situation is he in that he or she is in that you have to go and do the equity or capital to raise for them?
Well, let me give you an example. We're working with a group right now that is buying a 900-room hotel in St. Louis. It's the Renaissance St. Louis. They're acquiring the property and then significantly renovating it, converting it to a Marriott. So they come to us with a business plan. We went out to the market, found an equity partner for them, and then arranged debt financing also was a part of our assignment. So we raised a total of about $55 million of capital, about $20 million of equity, and $30 million of senior financing as a part of that effort. And, so it means understanding the local market, understanding the repositioning strategy, articulating that to both equity investors and to lenders, and selling a turnaround in a market that a lot of lenders and equity investors are nervous about, because St. Louis is not Chicago, New York, Boston, etc.
Right. So most of the time they would come to you if they want to expand their existing business. So they want to build more hotels in a different area, something like that.
We do some construction work, but a lot of it is just helping people who have an ongoing acquisition program. So they're just continuing to add to their portfolio.
Right.
And our client in this case is somebody that we've done deals with in Memphis and Hawaii. So we've done work over many years with the same people. And our business strategy is to do more complicated deals, more intense capital raising efforts with a smaller number of clients. We tend to be very close with the clients that we work with. We understand what their strengths and weaknesses are as sponsors, and we're good at telling that story to investors and to lenders.
How long have you been in business? How long has Robert Douglas been around?
So we opened our doors in January of 2013, so we're about 14 months old.
Nice.
My partner and I created the business. We had been partners previously at a private real estate investment banking firm. We sold that company to a large organization, spent some time there, and then just decided it was time to get out and be entrepreneurial again. So we,
nice.
We created this company, and we spent the first 6 months basically out trying to hire people, which we were very successful doing. As I say, we lied to a bunch of young people and got them excited about the opportunity.
Nice. And I was talking to one of the people earlier, and they were saying you're in San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York?
I'm in New York.
Nice.
So we have 3 offices.
And you cover nationally or internationally?
We are focused on the U.S.
Okay.
We do work in the Caribbean. We do work in Mexico. We do work in Canada. So we will go. I would say we're North American.
Okay.
We're not going to go. I got an email from somebody in Italy today who's got 1,500 hectares in Tuscany they want to finance. That's not for us.
Okay, I understand.
Totally. So you were saying that you have a group of companies that you mainly work with most of the time.
I guess my point is that we would rather work with fewer clients and do more work for them and be more involved in their business. That doesn't mean that if somebody calls us up and says, I've got a Marriott hotel or a Hilton or that I want to finance in Boston or San Francisco, that we're not going to work with them.
Right.
But we tend to try and be more involved with their business
more
day in
selective
and day out.
with your clients.
Yeah, more selective, but also it means that we can put a lot more resources to it.
Right.
Which makes sense. I mean, that you give them the service that they would require to get their job done, basically.
We part of what we wanted to do was to create a business with very talented people. I think we generally have people who have more investment banking, more deal structuring experience. They're a little bit more senior. It's not a business where we come in, I'm been in the business 30 years, I pitch the deal and then lay it off to some associate who executes it and you never see me again.
Right.
We're going to be very hands-on. We're going to be in all the meetings. We're going to be a part of the discussions and the strategy. So we kind of like that business model. It's harder to scale it.
Yeah, right.
But it does mean that we, the clients that we work with tend to be pretty loyal because they see that they're getting a lot of value. They're getting real attention from us.
Right. Well, I'm sure it's not anything like putting together a loan or for someone that's just looking to purchase a piece of property. There's a lot more that has to go into play with this, as opposed to just putting together that finance package.
Yeah. Look, we're very active in the finance market, and it is an easier, the classic senior loan is an easier deal to do. We do a lot of structured finance where there's mezzanine capital, preferred equity, there's different layers of debt. We're helping to structure all that and create the relationships between those different capital providers. When you start to talk about joint venture equity, which we do a lot of, that's almost like marriage brokerage. It's not just the deal, it's the people.
Right.
And a lot of deals that go badly because you put incompatible people together.
Yep.
And when the market's active, people will do that.
Right.
I mean, they get married to capital providers that just aren't a good fit.
Right. They're just looking for money, so they don't care who it's coming from.
We put a lot of thought into who we marry to who, and I think that our clients like that we're paying attention that way. And it does mean that deals are more complicated because you've got a lot of, with debt, it's very clear. Pay me,
right,
or we got a problem.
Right.
Equity is, as I say, it's like getting married. Like all the negotiations are much more subtle, and how do you, if at a point in time, if you need to separate, how do you do that? It is much more involved.
So let me ask you a question. So there's a venture group that wants to buy a hotel or is involved in this hotel. And there's one bad seed in that group that you see, who goes to the group and says, "This guy's got to go"? You know, it sounds like it's your job.
To some degree it is, and sometimes our job is to say we need to get that person out of the room, out of the deal, and more often, our role is to sort of create a set of protections and box that risk up so that if there's an individual that you think is going to behave unpredictably, that you create certain management protocols and voting structure and controls that make sure, or at least try to make sure, that there isn't going to be an outcome that you didn't expect.
Right. So you eliminate that future problem.
Yeah.
Basically.
I mean, look, in general, we're a small company. We've been in business. I've been in this industry for a long time. Our cardinal rule is we don't work for jerks. And we don't work for them. If we're working for somebody and we're raising capital for them, we're not going to put them in with somebody that we think is going to be difficult.
Right.
Life is too short.
Yeah. I hear you.
So
your job is basically a problem solver.
Yeah.
That's
no,
nice.
I think that's it. And it's a problem solver, and it is understanding the vision that our clients have got. And often it's pretty complicated. And then helping them to fine-tune that and take it to the market and explain to somebody with either financing or equity why they should get excited about it.
So basically you would be working with a client on an ongoing basis. It wouldn't be one-shot deals most of the time.
Well, it's, yes, we have a long relationship, but it's still deal by deal.
Right.
But we have a lot of clients who, they'll show me everything they look at. I'll get an email every week. We're looking at this deal. We're looking at this. We're bidding on this. What do you think? I'm buying a note. I'm buying an asset. I'm refinancing.
Right.
And a lot of those, we're not getting paid. You get an email and you look at it and you look at the book and you make some calls and you get on a conference call, and we're not getting paid on those. But on the other hand, when they get a deal that's going to happen that we like, they like, they're not going to then say, well, look, give us a proposal and we're going to talk to 8 other firms and we're going to get proposals and whoever bids the lowest fee is going to win it. We don't get a lot of that.
Right.
So
you give a little to get a lot.
Yeah. And, look.
In life, too.
Yeah.
We understand their business. We know what they're good at and what they're not good at. And I'm not, none of us are shy about saying to those clients, this isn't right for you. And here's why.
Right.
And smart people tend to like that. It's not always what they want to hear, but when you say, let me tell you why I don't think you should do this, or conversely, you haven't looked at this and you should look at it.
Right.
They like that.
Right. It's always better to sometimes see it through someone else's eyes than yours because you could be clouded somewhat.
Absolutely. And look, when they come to you and they say, I want to do this deal, and you're going to help me do it, and you're going to make a fee, and you say, it's not right for you.
Right.
You buy a lot of trust that way.
Right.
Because they understand that you're not there
you're giving
just
it
to ring the bell and
get a check.
Put a little bit more money in your pocket.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on, Doug. Wow,
Yeah,
a lot of
great.
information you just shared with us.
Right.
Most of it over my head, but I appreciate you sharing it nonetheless.
Well, look,
As soon as we start getting into hotels, buying hotels.
I mean, I have to just listening to you guys.
And
give us a call.
And we're talking with Douglas Hercher, the principal and manager director of Robert Douglas. And if you need some kind of financing structure, give them a call. Your office is in New York, actually, not a Boston office.
No,
Nice.
I'm a big Boston fan, and somewhere on the Cape, but based in New York.
Nice. Well, really appreciate you coming
We
on.
appreciate
Thank
you
so
coming
much.
on.
All right,
Are you
gentlemen.
on any of the speakers?
Are you on any panels or
Any
anything?
panels?
Yeah, I just moderated one of the finance
nice.
panels.
Oh, great.
Fantastic.
All right, gentlemen.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Enjoy the help conference. The rest of it. Thanks.
Thank you. And we're at the HELP conference, and we were just talking with Ken Ford. He's the vice president of New England Hotel Realty, and we just finished talking with Douglas Hercher. He is the principal and manager director of Robert Douglas, and they handle financing. The interviews have been brought to you by the New England Restaurant Brokers, a recognized leader in the sale of food and liquor businesses for over 30 years. New England Restaurant Brokers' team of restaurant specialists have sold hundreds of food and liquor businesses. If you're looking to buy, sell, or develop a food or liquor business, call New England Restaurant Brokers at 617-721-9655 or go to nerestaurantbrokers.com. Again, that's New England Restaurant Brokers at 617-721-9655 or email nerb@comcast.net. That's nerb@comcast.net. We'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network.
Rick Kaplan is right here on the Money Matters Radio Network.
And we're back, coming to a close. We're at the HELP Conference in Boston today, and our close of the show is brought to you by the NEBFM 2014. Do you sell to facility managers, building owners, or property managers? See thousands of these decision makers at the Northeast Buildings and Facility Management Show, June 18th and 19th at Boston Convention Center. Go to proexpos.com. That's proexpos.com. And we have with us Jim O'Connell from the O'Connell Hospitality Group. He's the principal of the O'Connell Hospitality Group. And Jim puts on this event every year, and it's a fantastic conference. We love being here, Jim.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So how's it going so far this year?
It's going terrific. Yeah, thank you very much for coming and setting everything up. It's really terrific to have New England Real Estate Journal's radio show here. It's really terrific. It's going very, very well.
And, we love to interview the people that come in here because, we're looking to get some free rooms somewhere, in the Caribbean or,
This is the place. There's over 400 owners here, so you should be across the country, in the Caribbean, China, everywhere. So
this is the third annual.
Yes.
What made you decide to put this together here in Boston a couple of years ago?
Well, it's focused. The HELP conference is focused on equity and debt, and surprisingly, Boston's very, very strong with private equity. There's a number of REITs that are based here, so the hotel community is based here in Boston. But we really had a New York show, a show in California, or conference is much larger than this. And Ken Wilson, Chad Cranley, and I decided to do just focused on equity and debt and deal with the transactions. And so keep it small, but keep it with a very high level of content and a very high level of management attendees. So CEOs, CFOs. Those are the people that are here, so it's working out very well. It's easy to get in and out in the Seaport Hotel.
Right.
You're literally 5 minutes from the terminal, so it's really terrific. It's an easy in, easy out.
We never make it to the day before you have the show, but I mean, everyone raves about that. You have this thing. You go out to all the different restaurants around here in the comedy show.
We have when we were doing this, we basically have all been in the business pushing 30 years. And we said, here are the things that we don't like about conferences or conventions, and here's what we'd like. If we owned a conference, this is what we would do. And basically, the Seaport has exploded, so we've taken all of the private dining rooms of all the restaurants on the Seaport, on the waterfront, and reserved them. So when you register for the conference, you also register for dinner, which is a networking event. So there's approximately 30 people having dinner. So it really works out well, because that's what this is all about. It's all about networking.
Right.
So every chance we get, so Del Frisco's, Morton's, Strega, Legal's, Harborside, Empire,
so you
Action
have,
Kitchen.
You have the private room for all those,
all
and then
those
each person gets to pick which one they want to go to?
When you register, you pick it, you pick it, and you got to do it fast. They sell out.
Well, I can imagine. That's crazy.
That's
awesome.
It works out really, really well.
We're going to have to make the time next year.
Yeah,
to come
right?
the day before.
I had to come up for the first night. Let's get real. That sounds awesome.
The comedians, it's just having fun.
So
it's all about having fun. So cocktail reception, loosen everybody up with some comedians, and then have dinner. But on the flip side of that, our first night we had Lee Pillsbury, who's the chairman of Thayer Lodging, multi-billion-dollar hotel company, doing a presentation himself. He went out in the audience. It was as if he was teaching a class. And then we had a panel of the top consultants in the country in the hospitality business, and they spent another 45 minutes or so showing everyone the trends. And everyone now wants to know, when's this going to end? Everything's going really well right now. Well, when do we fall off the cliff?
Right.
So these are the people that they're asking, and it was terrific. It was about an hour and a half of really, really solid, high-level content. It worked out great, and then we had the fun. So it's not just a festival.
Right.
It really works out great.
Yeah.
It's a mixture, fun, a learning experience. It's, you get a lot out of it.
Yeah, lunchtime or after lunchtime, the panel, and the other. In addition, what we wanted to do is kind of give back to the hotel schools in the region. So we have Boston University, UMass Hotel School, UNH, and Endicott College all have a major in hospitality and finance and everything but related to the hospitality industry. So each one of them has the opportunity to do effectively a commercial. They bring some of their top students. They help us, and they get a chance to interact. We've had kids now get jobs out of this event, in internships for sure. So it works out really, really well for some of the schools as well. It's good. So it's working out well.
That's great. And we appreciate you inviting us every year, Jim.
Thank you.
It's always a good time for us.
And we'll be back for the fourth annual.
That's right.
For sure.
I have to give a shout out to Karen Dowell, who's not here. You guys, she's
That's because she's on vacation. She's on vacation staying in one of the hotels that she met from here. Thanks again, Jim.
Thank you very much,
Thanks
guys.
for having us.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
And it came to the close of our show, and it's brought to you by NEBFM 2014. Do you sell to facility managers, building owners, or property managers? See thousands of these decision makers at the Northeast Buildings and Facility Management Show, June 18th and 19th at the Boston Convention Center. Go to proexpos.com. That's proexpos.com. And I want to thank Jim O'Connell from the Health Conference and our sponsors, New England Restaurant Brokers, Command Securities Corporation, the New England Real Estate Journal.
The guests from earlier.
And I'd like to thank all the guests from earlier. This deal is done.